What's cracking, people? It's your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, representing high-level technicians operating globally and beyond. So listen, today I wanted to discuss a video that was sent to me by a Patreon subscriber. Shout out to the Hot House. Gentlemen, keep in mind, if you are at the adept, journeyman, and technician level of my Patreon, you can always reach out, send clips or photos or articles that you think are interesting enough to produce a response to. But this one was interesting because I'll link the video down below, and I'm just going to play a small clip. And I'm going to do another thing on this side, on the YouTube side. I'll respond to what my thoughts are, which is basically the Patreon, my patrons' question, what my thoughts are on this particular statement that's made. But on the Patreon side, I am going to do a full seducer and a sage breakdown of this case study. Now, Stormi Maya is someone who is a performer. She has acted in movies. She is currently promoting music. Definitely go out, check it out, and formulate your own opinion about that. But those are not the things that we're talking about today. Today we are talking about this particular snippet right here.
I got a big pussy.
Big pussy tampons.
I got a grown woman pussy, and most watch it's like, it's a turn off. That means my 7-inch dick won't do nothing for you. You're right. That's why I'm with Mr. 11 and not Mr. 7.
All right, gentlemen. So off the bat, I have to say something that I often say about women of this caliber, and like I said in the other video that I'll make about this, the seducer and the sage breakdown, I'll just post a graphic right here. This is what I rate Stormi Maya as: diesel outlier 9. That means that according to her rating on BGS IBMOR's octane scale, I would rate her as a diesel. I would give her ranking within the female group hierarchy as an outlier. I'll go into details, like I said, on how I came up with that in the other video, but I give her an S&V ranking of 9. So off the bat, I often say that I can appreciate a diesel woman because they are honest, and that is something that you don't find obviously with the average woman, but sometimes they can be honest to a fault, and through their honesty, just using the example of Cardi B, for example, they wear their trauma on their sleeves. And not to say that Stormi Maya has experienced trauma, even though she has. I mean, when you do some cursory research, you get different videos and interview clips, and one of the clips was an interview that she, not an interview, but just a Q&A session that she did on the Steve Harvey show that revealed some past traumas with her childhood. But in any case, they tend to wear their honesty on their sleeve, and whatever profession that leads you into the diesel space, sex work, escort services, I'm gonna dare say sugar baby, whatever, sponsorship, you need to be upfront about what it is that you're looking to get out of the interaction. Okay, you're exchanging your time, your presence, whatever, energy, whatever S&B for tangibles. And just because a person is a diesel doesn't mean that their tangible requirement is monetary. Hers, obviously, is, her requirement is that her man be well endowed. Now, I've done videos about a man owning his size, and I'll link some videos that I did down below. And men who are on the Patreon side understand that one of the first things that we need to assess about ourselves and start to own is how we are physically, who we are physically, because men, as I always say, we explore ourselves in our relationship with the world through our manhood. Women, they explore themselves in their relationship with the world primarily through their hair. They have a hair journey. That's another video for another day. But at the end of the day, my initial response to this particular clip is that Obviously, it's done for shock value. Obviously, she wants to make a bold statement that would garner views or get that attention for anything else. But beyond that, beneath the surface, what she is declaring is the average man, even above average men, as she said, men who come with 7+ inches to that space of intimacy for her, would not be able to satisfy her in that physical sense, that only very, very few men are able to satisfy. And that is a statement that is twofold. See, she understands that sex sells, and over the course of her roles in various projects and her music, she uses that sensuality to promote a brand that brings her resources. But at the end of the day, what she's saying is that it takes a certain type of man to get to a space with her intimately, not only physically, but to be able to get her submission. And over the course of that interview, like I said, I'll link that down below. That's what she's saying in no uncertain terms. And what's interesting about this is that in typical Diesel fashion, she has her defenses up. And the irony about the Diesel octane is that what comes with their honesty, their brutal honesty, is that veiled defensive posture. And let's be honest, okay? Any man who's been with more than 30 to 50 women has come across a woman who has a sizable vaginal cavity. All right, and obviously, if you're subscribed to the Patreon side, we go over various techniques on what to do with that should you encounter a woman like that. Plus, that's just one form of intimacy, right? They've got more than one pole. In any case, what she is doing is trying to disqualify the men who don't own who they are. You see, she throws out those numbers, and it could very well be a valid sort of demarcation of the caliber of men that she presents a physical threshold for, right? A minimum requirement for physicality. Valid, okay? However, the greater takeaway is this: she, in her expression of femininity, still wants to be dominated by a man who is capable of taking command of an intimate space. However, that is the primary sort of requirement that she's putting out there. That's the primary space that she's giving a type of man that can interact with her in an intimate space. She's not releasing the information that would allow a man who has more than just the physical dimensions to own her space, and that's on purpose. That's the greatest takeaway from this. Of course, there are many ways to satisfy women who have those requirements. Of course, there are many ways to incorporate toys, tactics, and techniques. Write that down: toys, tactics, and techniques. We're going to create that into a hashtag: toys, tactics, and techniques, that will have women like this craving a man's presence, even if he doesn't meet that physical requirement for his manhood. But gentlemen, I want you to keep in mind the overall observation from this particular case study, and that is, when you approach a woman that you desire to acquire, you need to understand the multi-dimensional observation that needs to take place before you even approach. And that has to factor in, okay, what do I seek to get out of this interaction? How does this benefit me in the short term, mid-term, and long term? How does this benefit my mission, or how could this take away from my mission? And you have to be willing to invest, especially if you've identified a possible diesel level woman. You have to be able to invest the mental work that it will require to be in an intimate space with her, and that's because it's more than just physical. Obviously, it's more than just a physical requirement for some women, even non-diesel women. People have histories. People have a past that they bring to a space, and what you need to consider is what the cost of sharing that space with that woman requires of you. Select men, pre-select men, non-select men. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, this is your man Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.